Hey guys, GOREbeast here. Welcome to another episode of GOREviews. First, I want to apologize for my long absence. I don't have an actual excuse for that, but other than I just got lazy. I will try to avoid that in the future and post on a more regular basis. Again, I apologize. With that out of the way, let's jump right in. Today, I want to talk about a book series by an author who recently passed away. If you're at all interested in the horror genre, then you probably heard about the passing of Jack Ketchum. He was a monumental author in the horror genre. Such books as Off Season and The Girl Next Door, Hide and Seek, many others. The short story collection Peaceable Kingdom. But today we're going to talk about the off-season book series. And we'll jump right in with the first book called Off Season. I'll turn that around there. So I want to point out something really quick. See right there and up in the corner here, these little tears, it looks like. These are actually nibbles from my old pet rat that passed away many years ago. Apparently he liked this book as well. The basic gist of Off Season is there is a group of cannibals living on the coast in a cave, and they've avoided people. They were on an island, but they kind of got chased off the island onto the mainland, and now to help sustain themselves, they hunt humans. There are three couples renting a cabin, or house. I think it's a house, not a cabin. And the cannibals attack them, and it's them against the cannibals trying to survive the night. This book is very graphic. I believe it was originally published in 1980, and at that time, there was nothing like that at this point. Of nowadays, you have your Edward Lees and Wrath James Whites and Brian Smiths, who just, go way beyond the gore threshold, I guess you would say. That was kind of what Jack Ketchum did in 1980. He went way beyond what was acceptable at the time, and the book was pretty controversial. It's an excellent novel, not just for the gore, but the story itself is interesting and engaging, and the characters are very well drawn. You should definitely check this book out. It is a horror classic, and I recommend it highly. Now, for the sequel to Off Season, called Offspring, this book is not nearly as good as the original. It's not bad. It's just as well written. The story is good, but it's kind of just a rehash of the original, with different characters stuck in almost the same exact situation. It's not bad. And in fact, I remember reading it the first time and not liking it, but upon rereading it, enjoying it more. I still don't love it, but it's good. Now, moving along to the third book in the series, The Woman, which was written by Jack Ketchum, and also Lucky McKee, who some of you may know as a director first and foremost. He's probably most famous for his film May. He also worked on the series Masters of Horror. This book is fantastic. It's a much smaller story. It's basically the last surviving cannibal, the woman, is captured by this family man, and his goal is he wants to civilize her. So he captures her and chains her up, and he's feeding her, and the family is kind of against it. except for one member of the family. I don't want to give too much away, but one family member is with him. The rest of them are not. His wife and kids he has. This story is excellent, and it's not as balls to the wall as the first two books, although toward the very end, it just explodes. Everything kind of falls apart. Superbly written, highly recommended, as much, if not more so, than the original book Off Season. You should definitely check this out. Now, I would be remiss if I did not mention that there have been 2 films made of this series, and it blows my mind that they did it this way. There's a film for Offspring and a film for The Woman, but not for Off Season. Now, the film Offspring is not that great. It follows the story very closely. I'll give it credit for that, but it suffers from a very, very small budget. The acting's rough. It's filmed not so competently. I mean, it's not bad. I've seen a lot worse, but the budget definitely hurt that film. And then Lucky McKee, who co-wrote The Woman with Jack Ketchum, directed a film of The Woman. That film is excellent. Follows the story of the book very closely. There's a couple little changes here, but I can see why they were done. That movie is very highly recommended by me. Stars Pollyanna McIntosh as the woman, which she also played the same role in Offspring. Some of you may know her from The Walking Dead. She's the leader of those the group that lives in the junkyard that keep betraying Rick. She's excellent in this movie. She was put through a lot. You can tell. Filming this could not have been easy for her. But I highly recommend the movie and the book. And the series as a whole, definitely. Offspring is the weakest, but still worth reading. So check those out. Jack Ketchum. Moving along to my movie recommendation, even though I did semi-recommend movies already. But this is a harrowing film called Threads. I love that lenticular slipcase there, and I'm not a slipcase person. I will make a video about slipcases in the near future. This movie was made in the 1980s. I believe it was 84, 85, probably 84, by the BBC. It's a television film, but you would not know that. The production value on this film is very, very, very high. It's a Cold War era film, a what-if, nuclear holocaust film, but it's done in such a realistic way that I've never seen it done this realistically. It's a very, very bleak and depressing film. There is no enjoying this film. It's just like a cautionary what-if film, and it breaks down what would happen, the events leading up to a nuclear strike, during, and following, and I mean years following. It shows the total breakdown of society and government, and food shortages and fuel shortages, and just what the survivors are going through trying to live in this post-nuclear world. This is not an enjoyable film, in that it's not fun, but it's very well put together, very realistic. I think that everyone should see this film. They should show this film in schools to older kids. I wouldn't show it to younger kids. It's pretty graphic. Shows charred corpses and things like that. I don't think that's really for younger kids in school, but for the older kids, I think they should definitely see this film and realize that this is the consequences of nuclear war. But anyway, yeah, Threads, check that out. Very good film. Now, my final thing I want to talk about today is the new Gwar album, The Blood of Gods. It's been out for a few months now, but I really wanted to give myself time to digest it and objectively think about it. It's a very good album. Of course, many of you who are Gwar fans should know that Gwar's frontman, Dave Brockie, aka Odorous Urungus, passed away a few years ago, so this is their first album post-Odorous. One of their former bass players came back to sing vocals and play a new character called Blothar. So it's a very good album. The music is great. Blothar is a very good singer. It just doesn't have the charm that it once had with Dave, aka Odorous, singing the vocals. He was a monumental figure. He was larger than life, the character and the actual man. I was fortunate enough to meet him many years ago, and he was very down to earth, but he's got this booming voice that begs to be heard. And with that missing from Gwar, it's just missing that element, so it feels a little shortchanged. But if you're a metalhead and you like Gwar, you shouldn't be disappointed by this album. You shouldn't be like, screw that, I don't even want to listen to it because Odorous isn't on it, so it's trash. No, that is not the case. It is good. It's very, very solid album, and you should all check it out. Of course, I don't have a physical copy because I download music from iTunes. But definitely check that out. Give it a shot. Give it a few listens. Don't just listen to it and dismiss it. You have to actually absorb it. And it grew on me. I mean, it's not fantastic, but I think there's actually worse Gwar albums than this one. So with all that said, I think that about wraps it up for this episode, and I want to thank everyone for being patient and waiting for this new episode, and hopefully there won't be such a gap between episodes next time. Once again, I'm GOREbeast. This has been GOREviews, and I will see you next time.